Have you ever wondered what really happens to the soul as we grow old? Especially when the final moment of life draws near? This question often goes unspoken, not out of fear, but because it touches a place so deep inside us that it's almost impossible to face alone. Edgar Cayce, a mystic known for his profound insights into the soul, dared to explore this very mystery. Contrary to the common belief that aging is a time of decline, Cayce revealed a striking truth: the soul of an elderly person is not fading away, it's awakening. As the body weakens, the soul breaks free from the physical world's heavy grip, becoming lighter, clearer, and spiritually more mature. This is a transformation few talk about, but one that brings a unique kind of peace and understanding. Imagine the soul as a traveler finally nearing home after a long journey. The final steps may be gentle, full of clarity rather than fear. Cayce's revelations challenge the widespread notion that old age is a loss of purpose. Instead, it's a sacred phase when accumulated wisdom from lifetimes past crystallizes, preparing the soul for what comes next. This insight shifts how we see aging, not as an end, but as a profound beginning. Stay with me as we dive deeper into these hidden truths, uncovering the spiritual gifts that the elderly carry and why their stories might hold the keys to understanding life and death itself. Aging isn't merely a physical decline, it's a profound spiritual evolution. Edgar Cayce's insights turn the common narrative upside down by asserting that the soul doesn't fade as the body weakens. Instead, it undergoes a subtle but powerful transformation. Imagine the soul as a radiant light trapped under layers of fog during youth and middle age. With advancing years, this fog begins to lift, revealing the soul's true essence: clearer, lighter, and more luminous. This transformation is not instantaneous but unfolds gradually, like dawn breaking over a horizon. The elderly begin to experience what Cayce described as a spiritual maturity that only time can cultivate. It's a maturity born from countless joys and sorrows, lessons learned, and wounds healed. This spiritual refinement allows the soul to perceive realities beyond the physical world. Intuitions grow sharper, memories of past lives or spiritual realms emerge, and connections to departed loved ones deepen. What's fascinating is how this enhanced sensitivity can be mistaken for confusion or mental decline, when in truth it's a heightened state of awareness. This phase reveals a paradox: the body may weaken, but the soul's light intensifies. Such a perspective challenges cultural biases that associate aging with loss of relevance or purpose. Instead, it invites us to view old age as a sacred window where the soul prepares to transition, shedding unnecessary burdens like bitterness, fear, and guilt. Forgiveness becomes more than a moral ideal, it's a spiritual necessity. The elderly often feel a powerful urge to reconcile past wounds, reconnect with estranged loved ones, or release long-held resentments. This is not a sign of weakness, but a profound act of wisdom. By untying these emotional knots, the soul gains freedom and peace. This process underscores a vital truth: death is not an end but a passage, a continuation of the soul's journey in a different form. Recognizing this helps us shift how we care for and honor the elderly, not as fading shadows but as luminous guides offering insights that transcend time. The environment surrounding an elderly person in their final days holds immense power over their spiritual transition. Edgar Cayce emphasized that the atmosphere, both physical and emotional, affects how peacefully the soul can detach from the body. A calm, loving, and respectful setting is essential. Excessive noise, tension, or forced sadness create obstacles for the soul's delicate passage. Instead, simplicity, genuine presence, and silent compassion foster an atmosphere where the soul feels safe to let go. Imagine the quiet warmth of a hand held gently, the soothing tone of a soft voice, or the serene comfort of shared silence. These simple gestures carry profound spiritual significance. Families and caregivers play a crucial spiritual role, not only managing physical needs but providing emotional support that the soul deeply recognizes. Edgar Cayce described how sometimes the mere touch of a hand can communicate acceptance and peace more effectively than words. In this sacred moment, the elderly person's need is not for advice or reassurance, but for unconditional presence. Moreover, Cayce warned that the fear of death often acts as the greatest barrier to a smooth transition. When fear is transformed into understanding, when death is seen as a change of state rather than a final end, calm replaces anxiety. This awareness transforms the last days into a gentle unfolding, where the soul moves closer to its spiritual home with grace. Creating this environment is a gift we can give, not only easing the passage for the elderly but enriching our own understanding of life and death. It teaches us that how we honor those at the end of life reflects our deepest values about connection, respect, and love. Edgar Cayce's readings often spoke about reincarnation and karma, ideas that may seem unfamiliar or even controversial to many. However, within his framework, the elderly stage of life is not just a random phase but a crucial chapter in the soul's long story, one that carries the echoes of past lives and karmic lessons. According to Cayce, the soul arrives in each lifetime with a unique blueprint, shaped by previous experiences. The elderly, then, are often in the final stages of resolving karmic debts and fulfilling spiritual missions. The hardships, joys, and relationships of their current life act as a mirror reflecting unfinished business from past incarnations. This concept reframes aging and suffering not as meaningless misfortunes but as purposeful opportunities for growth and healing. It invites us to look beyond the surface and ask, what spiritual lessons are being called forth? What patterns are being released? For the elderly, this karmic perspective can bring profound comfort. Knowing that their life has a deeper purpose, and that their trials are part of a greater spiritual design, helps to alleviate feelings of despair or futility. It encourages acceptance, patience, and even gratitude. Moreover, Cayce emphasized that the soul's progress is ultimately guided by love and free will. The karmic debts are not punishments but invitations to greater awareness and compassion. This outlook transforms the final chapter of life into a sacred opportunity for the soul to purify itself and prepare for the next phase. In practical terms, this means that acts of kindness, forgiveness, and self-reflection during old age are not just good deeds, they are powerful spiritual tools that help the soul evolve. Caregivers and family members can support this process by fostering environments of love and understanding, helping the elderly feel seen, valued, and connected. Edgar Cayce offered specific advice on how individuals and families can prepare for the soul's transition from this life. Beyond medical care and legal arrangements, he emphasized spiritual readiness as equally essential. One key practice is meditation or prayer, which helps calm the mind and open the heart. Such practices cultivate inner peace, reduce fear, and strengthen the connection between body and spirit. For the elderly, engaging in regular spiritual practices can ease anxiety about death and foster a sense of surrender and trust. Cayce also highlighted the importance of living in the moment. Rather than clinging to regrets or future worries, the elderly are encouraged to embrace the present fully, even in its pain and limitations. This presence creates a peaceful mind, which is crucial for a smooth spiritual passage. Another practical suggestion involves conscious breathing and visualization techniques to prepare the soul for its journey. Families can gently guide or support their loved ones in these exercises, turning final days into a time of intentional spiritual practice rather than passive waiting. Finally, Cayce warned against isolating the elderly. Connection to community, whether through family, friends, or spiritual groups, nourishes the soul. Shared stories, laughter, tears, and silence all become part of the soul's preparation to cross into the next realm. Through these practical and spiritual steps, the final stage of life transforms from something feared into something deeply meaningful, a sacred rite of passage where the soul steps into a new beginning. Edgar Cayce's visions of the afterlife were far from the conventional images many hold. He described the afterlife as a continuation of the soul's journey, an expansive, vibrant realm shaped by the soul's own state of consciousness. For the elderly soul who has prepared well, who has reconciled past karmas and embraced love, the afterlife is a place of rest, healing, and joyful reunion. It is not a static heaven or hell but a dynamic space where souls continue to learn, grow, and contribute. Cayce emphasized that the soul's experience after death depends largely on the quality of its final thoughts and emotions. This is why spiritual readiness, peace, and forgiveness in the last days are so critical. A calm, loving mind naturally attracts positive energies and connections in the spirit world. In this realm, souls can meet with loved ones who have passed before, receive guidance from higher spiritual beings, and prepare for future incarnations if they choose. It's a place to integrate lessons learned, reflect on the life just lived, and prepare for what comes next. This perspective offers a powerful antidote to fear of death. Instead of seeing death as an end, it becomes a doorway to an exciting new phase of existence, a reminder that the soul's true home is beyond the physical body. What does all this mean for us who are here, still living in the physical world? Cayce's insights invite us to honor the elderly not just as aged bodies but as wise souls in transition. By recognizing the deep spiritual significance of aging and death, we can cultivate more compassion, patience, and reverence for those in their final stages of life. Their experiences hold lessons for all of us about surrender, love, forgiveness, and the eternal nature of the soul. We can support the elderly by listening deeply, valuing their stories, and creating spaces for spiritual expression, whether through prayer, meditation, or simply shared presence. These acts of kindness and respect not only ease their journey but also enrich our own understanding of life and death. Ultimately, Edgar Cayce's teachings remind us that the soul's journey is a sacred adventure, filled with purpose at every stage. The elderly soul, far from being forgotten or dismissed, shines with a unique light, a light that guides us all toward greater wisdom and love. Thank you for watching. If you find this topic meaningful, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Please share your thoughts on the souls of the elderly in the comments section. Don't forget that each of us is a part of this great journey.